Hello. I don't really know how to start this video because I do not do Q&A style videos. I just can't imagine someone wanting to spend 15 minutes watching me sit down and talk about myself, but you know, it's a new year, it's a new me, and then to make it more interesting, I bought an instant ramen we can try. So maybe I will try, not maybe, I will be trying this and eating it. Is this a mukbang? I really don't know. I asked you guys on Instagram and on YouTube to just ask me some questions you're curious about, so maybe it will give you guys the opportunity to learn a little bit about me and maybe things I did before YouTube. I don't know, but let's talk about this to begin with. I've never seen this before. I was just in 7-Eleven and I saw this and I was like, that looks like it's gonna taste disgusting. I want to try it. The sour cream and onion Pringles instant ramen. I'm gonna open it on camera because sometimes, yes, I'm using a pen. Sometimes these things surprise me what may or may not be inside. I am not in the mood to try or eat this. I had breakfast not too long ago, so I'm kind of grossed out at the idea of eating sour cream and onion Pringles instant ramen. Let's get a few first impressions before getting into the video. This is what it looks like inside. The directions say, take the sauces out. Done, because I'm becoming an instant ramen connoisseur and now I know what to do. Shut up. This side you open to the line, and then this side you open like this. It has a freaking filter. It's a filter. So you pour the water in here, and then to drain it, we talked about this in my 7-Eleven video, which I will link below, how I always feel like a magician opening Japanese packaging because they think of everything. A strainer. We're done. Video's over. That's all we needed. While the hot water's getting ready, I'm gonna answer some of these questions. Sophie asks, what interests you the most about Japan? Obviously, you guys know I'm super fascinated in konbini culture here, and konbini means convenience store in Japanese, and I just find it so interesting. I will link below a bunch of my videos on trying different foods there. Like, I will never stop being amazed by 7-Eleven, Lawson's, Family Marts. I need to get more involved in doing videos on the other places other than 7-Eleven, but definitely like convenience of food. But other than that, the actual deep-rooted culture of Japan, I've learned so much. And prior to moving to Japan, I really wanted to see and explore a lot of different areas, which I obviously still want to do, but I find myself being more intrigued and interested in experiences, and those experiences that I have with locals here that you will probably never see on film. Bike Girl asks, what is Gus Gus's mix, and does Japan have issues with pit mixes? So if you guys don't know, I have a really lovely dog. His name is Gus Gus. He's about 70 pounds. He is mixed. We rescued him from the San Diego barking lot in San Diego, California, and then we brought him with us. Japan has a very strict quarantine situation, which I'll link a blog post below if you want to read about it. And basically they just want to ensure that they don't have like rabies or anything like that coming into their country, because they don't have those here. But they're not strict on breeds. Like, they don't care what dog you bring here as long as your dog is healthy and isn't bringing in any foreign diseases, which I think is amazing. We don't know what type of dog he is. I would actually love to partner with a company to do a DNA test just for fun. It would never change like what we think of our dog. I just think it would be interesting because he's an interesting looking dog and I think he's very handsome. Overall, in Japan where we live, a lot of people for the most part really like him, but they're also intimidated by his size, because even though he's 70 pounds, he would be considered a medium dog in the United States, but here in Japan he's considered like large to extra large, and a lot of people have never ever seen a dog that looks like him. So he's definitely a showstopper. We get looks all the time and people ask lots of questions. Lorraine, I really hope that I said your name right. She asked how did I make friends in Japan? So one of my closest friends, G, I met her at the laundromat. I met one of my friends on Instagram, actually many of my friends through Instagram. When I first moved here, I was just reaching out to people who looked like they had the same interests as me. Also met other people through work and hobbies, through pottery class as well. If you can get yourself out and, I don't know, like pick up hobbies and things like that. I think that's a really, really great way to meet friends. Okay, the water is ready. Alexa, set a timer for 3 minutes.
3 minutes, starting now.
Thanks, girl. Colorful Dark Art asks, will Japan be your home from now on, or will you move on to somewhere else? So Japan will not be our home forever. We are here just for hopefully 5 to 6 years. We shall see. It's really hard to say, and I don't want to jinx anything. However, we already talk about coming back in years' time. Don't know when, you know, anything is possible. We shall see. We don't really know. I really like this question. Ashley asks, did you ever feel lonely or hopeless when you first moved to Japan? I did feel really lonely the first few months we were here. I actually was mildly depressed. My husband had to come to me and was like, listen, like, we have to find a routine for you because, like, you're not yourself. At the time, I didn't have a job. We moved here for my husband's work. Definitely lonely, definitely homesick, definitely feeling lost as well because I had given up things that I wanted to do. Something that had unfortunately added to my sadness when we moved here was I had met a few other foreigners like within a few days of us moving here, and they like hated this town, and it made me cry because I was like, what am I gonna do here? There's nothing to do. And my husband was just like, listen, like, you adapt really well. Like, you can either look at this situation and be like miserable. You can literally be miserable that we're here, or you can look at this as an opportunity. I was really letting outside entities influence how I felt about this place, and I refuse to let anybody else who is moving to Japan or a small town look at it as a curse. There are people all around the world who will never have the privilege or the means to live abroad and who would kill to be in your position. So if you are sitting at home being negative about it, I just really hope that you can change your mindset and look at the positives out of it. So yes, to answer your question, I have definitely felt lonely being here. Alexa just did her ring-a-ling, so we're gonna fix up the ramen now. Going to be quite honest, I'm really not excited to try this. I think it's gonna be pretty disgusting. This also would not be a her.atlas video of any sorts if I didn't try some kind of food. So this was some kind of, it looks like oil with garlic, which is probably onion now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, yes sir, that's onion. The powder, I'll show you, don't you worry. What it smells like is, you know, the crunchy onions, like the freeze-dried oily crunchy onions that you put on like soups or whatever. That's what that smells like. Just like normal instant ramen, but of course it has like all the little pieces of onion as you would expect. I'm gonna let this cool down for just a second because I think burning my mouth on sour cream and onion ramen that I'm not too excited to eat is just not gonna be a good start to my day. So I'm gonna let this cool down for a second. Dari S-D-I-J. Darius. Am I an idiot? Cannot read. Wow. You know, also when you're reading, like learning another language, I feel like you start pronouncing things differently. So I really wanted to say Darius. DG. I really wanted to say Darius GG, but it's Darius D-I-J of some sort. He asks what the biggest inspiration from Japanese culture. I love that everything, at least from what I've learned, observed, and talked to from other people, is that most things are just like cherished. And you take things slower and appreciate moments in time or things or objects. And like, how do I explain this? Like something as simple as like making your morning coffee can be a ritual, like almost meditative. So the act of making your coffee, but not only making your coffee, but the time you spend like drinking your coffee and how you spend that time, and then like caring for your dishes when you're done. So the act of like cleaning up is almost like a cleansing moment. So those are things that I really like about the Japanese culture, because for so long I was always like go go go, and now I'm just like, oh, like yeah, there's beauty in the mundane. Let's try it. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't have high expectations. It kind of smells cheesy, but that must be the powdered sour cream. Okay. It's not too bad, but I will say, I'll never eat it again. I actually wish there was more onion flavor. Okay, it's coming now, like when I breathe out. I wish there was more onion flavor. Do I think that you should try this? Yes, absolutely. It's freaking weird. It's weird. I wish they had given you crushed up Pringles to like put on top. Like if you're gonna commit to the sour cream and onion situation, like let's go for it. Cheesiness to it as opposed to sour cream. And it also almost has like a powdery, you know, like it tastes like powdery. I'm definitely gonna eat all of this as we go through the other questions. Gabe asked what my top 3 favorite Japanese dishes are. Hands down, okonomiyaki. Okonomiyaki is so freaking good. Hiroshima style as well, for anybody that's gonna ask. So there's Hiroshima style and Osaka style. Osaka style, they mix everything together. Hiroshima style, they layer it, and we are near Hiroshima, so I favor that. It's kind of like a big deal here. Like if you tell people you like okonomiyaki, they'll be like, Hiroshima or Osaka style? It's so good. Spicy ramen. I mean, I don't know if that makes me basic or not, but I really like spicy ramen. I also like tonkatsu, like curry, like Japanese curry. Emily M. Detro asked what my college background is, which I don't get to talk about too often. I went to NC State. I did my undergrad and my master's there. I got scholarships to help provide my college education. I got grants and student loans, which I'm still paying off. My college background, undergrad, NC State. I went to the College of Textiles. So I studied fashion, brand marketing, and management, which has come in very useful for kind of what I'm doing today. And then my master's degree is in international business with a focus on the luxury industry. It actually turned me away from the luxury industry. I think it's quite disgusting. Yeah. I have a lot to say about that, but my thesis was how to get younger generations through social media marketing to start buying luxury brands, which has come actually very, very helpful in what I'm doing now, how to get the attention of a younger audience, because those are going to be long-term consumers of my content, I guess. I also had a few questions in the scroll thing if I've ever lived in other countries. I lived in Shanghai, China during my undergrad. That was the first time I had ever left the country, because growing up, we did not have the means to travel. So it was something that I always wanted to do. So I got a scholarship to go, studied in Shanghai, learned a little bit of Chinese. In my master's degree, I studied in France. So I lived in a tiny little town called Antibes, just south of Nice. Well, like southwest of Nice. And that was an amazing experience as well. I've dabbled in school just a little bit. Beatrice asked if we're planning to have kids in Japan. We don't know. Honestly, with the pandemic and COVID, going into hospital really freaks me out. On top of that, the Japanese hospital, like, they don't really believe in epidurals. It's like a rite of passage in Japan, like, to have a baby naturally, and that scares me. Like, I kind of want drugs. If I was in there and I asked for a freaking epidural, they'd be like, I just fear that they'd be like, this freaking gaijin just can't take it. Like, be a woman and like do this thing. So yeah, that kind of freaks me out. It's a fun fact though, right? I actually had a few questions asking how my husband and I met. We actually met at a live music bar. He came and sat down next to me, and we have literally been inseparable ever since. That's probably not the most romantic story, but yeah, fate. Leela's, I don't know how to say your name. Did you get Gus's ears done? No, I do not believe in that. His ears are natural. I hate when people ask me that. I know you're just curious and you're worried and you want to know because you want to judge me. We would never, ever, ever alter our dog. No. TarTJ says, is your husband not as interested in exploring Japan the ways you do, or is he just too busy to? So fun fact, my husband is normally always around. I'm just really good at keeping him off camera. Right, hun?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, he's always around, but separate. Hoi Mate asks, what are some misconceptions you had about Japan before you started living there? And if you had none or can't think of any, how did you befriend people in Japan? So I think one of the misconceptions I had is that a lot of Japanese people would be like quiet and more reserved, which they are at first. Like, not that they're not friendly, but people are just more reserved and private. And then to befriend people in Japan, just try to practice my Japanese, and as soon as you show them that you know more than like hello and that's cute, they're like, oh, like she's actually interested, and they naturally will gravitate and form a friendship. I hope that made sense. Why did you decide to move to Japan? So we actually came here on our honeymoon, loved it so much we moved. That's literally the story. We just transferred. A bunch of people have been asking me what my favorite thing about living in Japan is. I actually have a video coming in the next couple months. I've been keeping a list so I can just sit down and talk about all the interesting things that I really like about living in Japan. Another thing to contrast that is I am also keeping a list of all the things I don't like about living in Japan. So those two videos will be coming, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those. Okay guys, thanks for watching this little Q&A. I'm gonna go. I really don't like talking about myself for this much time, but I hope you learned a little bit more about me. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.